please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
This morning, things are looking slightly uneasy across the Asian markets. Most of the markets are in the red. The SGX Nifty is also a bit under pressure. We spoke about how Wall Street was in a complete tizzy after the ouster of Tillerson. But in our own markets, of course, we've been used to a different set of volatility, lots of big moves in the banks, etc. Our research team is here to tell you about all the stocks you need to watch out for as we head into trade today. So let's start very quickly. Anuj, what are you looking at?
So two stocks. First is IndiGO. I think the fact that the stock ended at high point yesterday and rallied 5% on supposedly bad news is always an indicator of strength. And the stock, of course, is the strongest in the aviation space. Big bounce from 20D moving average, buying in cash and F&O. So, and crude prices are down. So I think it's got tailwinds for it. The other one is interesting. We normally don't talk about it. Symphony, it took support at 20-day moving average yesterday. The big theme from here on is going to be the scorching summer. And while, you know, people may want to play it via Voltas, it's a very, crowded space and over-owned. And actually, Symphony has outperformed Voltas by 5% this year. So that will be an interesting one. Of course, this is not a day sort of thing. I just want to point out that, that's emerging as a theme.
I do hope more than the tailwind, the engines are okay for IndiGo.
Okay, well, let's talk about the LOU impact, right? That's the big story, the banning of LOUs. Lata, on banks and on maybe the other companies, the exporters, etc., what could the impact be?
Well, first, I just want to tell you what an LOU is. An LOU is, an agreement across banks. You keep your deposits in one bank, and he gives you gives an undertaking saying, I know this guy, he's sound, and I have all his money. So another bank, on the strength of that agreement, gives a loan to your import source or someone like that. A letter of credit is from one branch of this bank to another branch of the same bank. So, an ICICI branch here says we have his money, and a letter of credit is given by an ICICI overseas branch to a supplier. So LOU is gone, LCs exist. So who benefits? The guys who have branches on both sides. So banks like BOI, BOB, ICICI, Axis, SBI, of course. People who have branches on both sides are the guys who can give LCs. The LOUs were given by all banks. Now, those who don't have foreign branches would be at a bit of a disadvantage because they cannot have that bit of fee income. Now, it's not possible to find out. CLSA has done some math saying that IndusInd, yes, have probably 12% coming in from guarantees, LOUs, LCs, the whole lot. But that's the whole lot of fees. Of that, 15% may come from LOUs. So, a little bit of disadvantage for those who don't have foreign branches and a little bit of advantage for those who have foreign branches. But in terms of exporters, see, the only one I could pinpoint is probably PC Jewelers. We will be speaking to them. But, it is more people who have imports, value add and export. So that is more in the case of jewelry. I don't know if textiles and iron and steel are going to be hit as much. So at the moment, I'll only put PC Jewelers, and let's try and reach out to that company later on. That'll be red.
Okay, so we'll keep an eye out on that. PC Jewelers, of course, has had a very, very tough time ever since that, Nirav Modi scam broke out. All of these companies have been under pressure. But the management of PC Jewelers had told us the last time around that they buy diamonds from local markets in cash and they don't buy via LOUs. So let's see, we'll get another clarification from them very soon. But in the meantime, the fight for Fortis has intensified. We told you last month that IHH is back in the race for buying the hospital chain. Nisha, in fact, our colleague told you that. So she joins in now to get us the latest update over there. Hi, Nisha. Morning.
Good morning, Sonia. So yes, sources do suggest that IHH has been in the fray. They had re-entered the fray some time back, and the really fight for Fortis has intensified. Now, even though Manipal-backed TPG's deal is at an advanced stage, they were very close to signing it on March 4th, but because of SFIO investigation, that got stalled. That is giving a little bit of advantage to IHH. What I do gather from sources with direct knowledge is that they have been in talks with the lenders who had invoked the pledge shares of the promoters and have consolidated their position in Fortis. Yes Bank, with 17% stake in Fortis, is going to be the key decision maker for the sale of Fortis going forward, is what I do gather from sources. So IHH has been in talks with Yes Bank as well as Axis Bank to really buy out the stake. If that were to happen, then all the big shareholders who have invested in Fortis will also rally behind it, and it will trigger an open offer, leading to IHH buying out Fortis. But remember that TPG-backed Manipal has been in advanced talks. They were very close to signing the deal, so they are also very much in the game right now. So it needs to be seen where the thing tilts, but at this point, the bankers are really going to gain because of the competition.
Right, we'll wait and see. Thank you very much, Nisha, for joining us. So Fortis actually has suitors green on Fortis, at least for now. Anisha, your word on defence companies after that rather bitter complaint from the Chief of the Army to the parliamentary panel.
Well, yes, we were hoping that there will be a lot of defence orders that will come in through, but the latest word coming in from the government is that perhaps that the budget is not enough for meeting the demands. For example, the Vice Chief of Army Staff has said to the parliamentary panel that the budget 2018-90 has dashed their hopes. There is no budget available for modernization of the Indian Army equipments, and that's the reason he suggests that 25 Make in India projects of defence might have to be foreclosed. Remember, there's a lot of bet that the street has put on all these defence companies like BL, BML, the latest IPO being there, BDL, as well as L&T and the likes. The defence orders will come in through given the Make in India push. Now, if the budget allocation is not enough, that will clearly dash the hopes as far as the investors is concerned of the order inflows in these companies. So they might see a bit of pressure today, but the government has been very, very vocal about the push that they want to give to defence. So let's see if there's any recourse towards it, but as of now, a bit of red for the sector.
Okay, well, thank you very much for that, Anisha. I just want to add, I mean, with full respect for the army, I doubt there'll be any army which will say it is getting enough money. Yeah. I mean, fear is always like that. You want more and more. Yes. I have full respect for the army, but this will be a constant complaint from any army. I'm sure the US Army General will tell you that he's not getting enough money for defense.
Okay, it's fine. We'll move on and talk more about some stocks that will be in focus this morning. Now, this is a CNBC TV18 exclusive. ICICI Securities may launch an IPO within the next 10 to 15 days itself, and ICICI Bank will, of course, be in focus. Yash, our colleague, has been picking up all of this. Yash, over to you.
Well, I expect ICICI Bank to remain in focus today as the private lender is likely to raise funds through listing its securities business, which is ICICI Securities. Sources tell us that ICICI Bank is likely to dilute around 24% stake in ICICI Securities to raise funds to the tune of about 4,200 crore. The IPO for ICICI Securities is likely to open on March 21st and close on March 23rd. And this IPO transaction is likely to value ICICI Securities at around 16,800 crore.
Okay, Yash, thanks a lot for that.
I just want to point out this is very desperate for ICICI Bank because of the accelerated recognition of NPAs that is inevitably going to come. They desperately need this money so that there's more green on the bottom line.
Oh yes, and now this will be the third subsidiary that will be listing, of course, after the ICICI Pru Life and also ICICI Pru. But Sonia, what about Eicher Motors? Why are you watching out for that?
Well, I'm watching out for Royal Enfield because they've now entered into the Argentinian market, and this is the third market that they've entered into in Latin America. Now, remember, exports are still a very small portion, just about 10% of the overall business, but Siddharth Lal is making a very concerted effort to expand the global mid-size motorcycle market and enter into various various markets globally. In Argentina, they will be selling the Bullet, the Classic, the Continental GT and the Himalayan, and Argentina is the second biggest motorcycle market in Latin America. So this is an important development for them. The stock, remember, is still down about 15% from its highs, but I expect the stock to be in the green this morning.
Fair enough. Anisha, back to you. IRB Infra.
Well, yes, a lot of sectors like bank and jewelry might be getting negative news in the last month, but the sector that is getting all the positive news is infrastructure space. A lot of order wins happening, and today it's the case with IRB Infrastructure. The company has been declared lowest bidder for two of the hybrid annuity projects with a total bid size of around 3,500 odd crores in the state of Tamil Nadu. Now, they have to be completed over a period of 730 days. The company's order book is healthy at around 10,000 odd crores. It has to be executed over a period of next 3 years. So expect a green on that stock today.
Okay, expect a green on IRB Infra. It hasn't had the best time in the last 1 month, but let's get some more stocks on board. Sonal joins in to give us some stocks in the news. Sonal, over to you.
Thanks a lot for that. Well, after IRB Infra, even L&T, for the company, it's raining orders, and NHAI, that has awarded Dwarka Expressway contract worth 1,050 crores to the company. So expect that stock to be in green today. PNB will also be in focus because after yesterday's news that they have an additional exposure of around 942 crores to Gitanjali Group, they clarified to the exchanges that it was a standard credit exposure at the time of fraud detection, and it is no new LOU or any fraudulent LOCs that this pertains to. Even Kalpataru Power will be in focus today as the promoters, they have released pledge of over 2% of equity shares on 12th March. Another stock that will be in focus today is Majesco, because one of the digital arms of the company has received an order from a Malaysian insurance company. The order amount is not known, but that definitely is positive for the company.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. So many stocks in focus actually. Here's a quick recap in case you missed out on any of them. Stocks expected to gain are Bank of India, Bank of Baroda, ICICI Bank, Axis Bank, Interglobe Aviation, Symphony, Fortis Health, Eicher Motors, IRB Infra, L&T, PNB, Kalpataru Power and Majesco. While stocks that could be under pressure this morning, Yes Bank, IndusInd Bank, PC Jewelers, BEL, BEML, Walchand Nagar and L&T.
Okay, back to the big story. Reserve Bank has discontinued the issuance of letters of undertaking and letters of comfort for trade credit by banks. We're now getting someone who just knows this like the back of his hand. Sanjeev Bhatia, CFO, PC Jewelers, joins us on the phone line to detail the impact. Good morning, Mr. Bhatia. Actually explain to us who will be affected, or is it very easy to go over to LCs from LOUs?
Actually, if you ask me personally, in our business, we have never used these documentary credits. This thing doesn't work in the jewelry business. But as far as I know, the LUs and LOCs were used in more of loose items like diamonds. If you import rough diamonds and then you import cut and polished diamonds.
But you don't import diamonds?
We don't import diamonds. PC Jeweler doesn't import diamonds. We purchase cut and polished diamonds from within India only.
Okay.
Yes.
Are there any listed companies which do that, or is this largely in the unlisted space?
I think there would be perhaps some older listed companies who were in diamond cutting and polishing, like Goenka Diamonds was there. There was some company, M&M, I'm not very sure. But there were a few companies, yes, who are in this business.
Okay, so
or who may still be in this business.
So just to reiterate, you buy most of your diamonds from the local market in cash?
Not most, all
of the diamonds? Okay, and most of the industry does that, right?
Jewelers, yes. Because diamond importing, rough, cutting and polishing is a totally different business model. You need different expertise and it's a different art altogether.
Okay.
What all those Shrinuj diamonds, all those guys will be SBT, they would be importing?
Perhaps, yes. You're very right.
Okay. I also wanted to ask you about the demand itself after the whole Nirav Modi issue broke out. Has the demand for studded jewelry and diamond sort of dampened a bit? Because that was what even a couple of other jewelers like Titan were telling us, that there's now a bit of skepticism around the purity or the value of diamonds, and that's sort of dampening demand a bit.
That is actually, I'm not sure why Titan, but actually if you look at more of North and East India, during the days of Holi, etc., there is a natural slackening of demand. And now the demand is expected to pick up once the Navratra start. So these are the few seasonal trends in this business. So I'm not very sure whether anything due to the current banking scam has to do with anything.
Okay.
But as a company, we are opening 5 new stores on the first day of Navratra itself. And we are getting good footfalls and good customer interaction as before only. I mean, nothing.
So customers are not worried about the quality of diamonds in their general behavior.
Not really. And we have a very good customer policy. We give buyback. We have buyback policies. We give diamond certification, which I've been doing for a long time. So as a company, we don't feel that the customers have anything to worry.
Is there a credit crunch?
Credit crunch, if you ask me, yes, bankers are currently in a state of shock. And overall, yes. But again, if I can't talk about other companies, but if I talk specifically about PC Jewelers, so our position continues to remain comfortable.
But the market has a credit crunch.
I will not like to use this term because I'm not, frankly, very much conversant with what's happening with other companies.
Okay.
But on a general, the bankers are getting much more cautious. All transactions are being looked into. Again, KYCs are being redone. So all those formalities are being completely brought there.
What about foreign currency post the recent scam? Has it been slightly tighter than what was than what the situation was earlier? The availability?
I wouldn't be able to comment on that really because our gold comes under the same business model which is coming under the gold metal loan, and that business continues to remain separate. So regarding those, we do not directly deal in foreign exchange. We do not directly buy or take foreign currency credit.
No. Assuming that there were some importers who were using LOUs, now they don't have that route. So they would come into the current LC market or even the FX market to cover what they immediately need. So do you see a bit of scampering for dollars, a rush for dollars?
It will become as the old positions are unwinded and the new positions are take place, because now both the buyer as well as seller overseas and the buyer from India, they have to rework their contract, they have to rework their documentary credit. So I'm not seeing anything immediate, but it will be a realignment of position going ahead.
Sure. Mr. Bhatia, thank you for your time this morning and thank you for that clarification as well. That's PC Jewelers. As you just heard them say, they buy diamonds, all their diamonds from the local market in cash, and they've never used LOU, so they don't get impacted. Let's take a quick break on that note. On the other side of the break, we'll get our technical gurus, Ashwini Gujral, Sudarshan Sukhani and Mitesh Thakkar to join in.